Now I want to introduce you to Joseph Moreno. He's a former federal prosecutor, and he's in Alexandria, Virginia. Thank you so much for waking up so early with us to digest this story on a Saturday morning. I appreciate it.
Sure. Good morning, Chris.
So we just walked through portions of this video with our audience. We know that a lot of people have seen many pieces of this video in the United States and right around the world. Of course, it will be critical to any sort of court case as it goes through the process here. But as a former prosecutor, what stands out in the video to you, sir?
Well, Chris, I mean, it's hard to look at any portion of the video, much less the entire thing, and not be repelled by this. I mean, we expect our police officers and our law enforcement here and all over the world to protect and serve, right? Certainly not to terrorize people. And so when you look at this, the length of time, the people that were both engaged and also standing around, the delay in having an ambulance finally come to help Mr. Nichols, which of course was too late. It's repellent. And so as a citizen, I'm glad the information is out there. I will note, as an attorney, it always worries me a little bit when evidence like this, which is so incendiary, is released before people are sent to trial. Because, of course, a bedrock principle of ours is that everyone is presumed innocent until actually they face a trial. But that being said, it's hard as an American, as a citizen of the world, to look at this and not be absolutely appalled.
All right, let's dig into the charges against these officers as well. Second-degree murder, of course, being the most serious. And we know that the family had originally wanted first-degree murder charges, though yesterday Tyre's mother said that she was satisfied with second-degree murder, saying that it was more likely to stick. Talk to us about the differences between first and second-degree murder and what factors in this case would have led prosecutors to go with second.
Sure, Chris, and make no mistake, second-degree murder is an extremely serious charge. So I realize that there's always this rush, of course, because we want to be as tough on perpetrators as possible. First-degree murder is intentional homicide. That basically means you set out on a course to purposefully kill someone. Second-degree murder is the knowing killing of someone, in this case through violence. It's basically saying, you may not have set out to kill that person, but you engaged in such violence leading to that person's death that you either knew or should have known what you were doing would lead to that person's death. That's the distinction there. There's a difference in the penalties. There's a difference in the standard of proof that prosecutors will have to meet. This is not recklessness. This is not negligence. This is not involuntary manslaughter. It is more serious than all of those things. But that's the distinction there between first and second degree. But again, make no mistake, it's a very serious charge.
And as you correctly point out, the officers are presumed innocent at this point. And we know that the trial, of course, has not gotten underway yet. But we are hearing from the lawyers from some of the officers here, and that they are saying that although their clients were there, they didn't take part in the violence. And I'm curious, from your perspective, what do you make of that defense, especially when we know that officers have a duty to intervene if they see another officer using unlawful force?
That's right, Chris. Well, so first off, you have 5 different officers, right? So as right now, it's easy to kind of lump them all together. But over the next few weeks and months, as they get with their lawyers, they're going to craft their own defenses. And so some may say things about their individual role. That being said, collectively, what prosecutors have already said is that no one person may have been guilty. You have to take a look at them as a collective. And part of that is what they did. Part of that is what they did not do. And it is interesting to hear that there's calls for new laws to say that police officers must intervene to protect someone. I would say those laws are not necessary because they already have that duty. Police officers already have a duty to intervene if someone's life is at risk. And that includes if it's at risk at the hands of fellow officers.
How about the speed of the wheels of justice here? Because the family's attorney, Ben Crump, said yesterday that charges were laid with an unusual amount of speed, and this had better be a blueprint for the way future alleged police brutality cases are handled, especially, Crump said yesterday, if white officers are involved. What do you make of the speed here and whether it'll in fact be precedent-setting?
Well, Chris, I mean, it is in fact pretty impressive that it took no more than 20 days from the time of the incident to the time of the indictments of these officers. That is remarkably fast for a crime involving numerous people and one so serious. I think it's great that things were done so quickly, but even more than speed is you want accuracy. You want a thorough investigation and you want proper charges brought. So while I applaud the system for moving along so quickly here, you do want to be careful about setting unrealistic goals, because you don't want to say 20 days is the new standard, and then if the next case takes 30 days or 45 days or longer, that there's been some kind of failure, because every case is different and every jurisdiction is different.
All right. Well, you've given us a lot to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning, Joseph. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Good to join you.
Joseph Moreno is a former federal prosecutor, and we reached him in Alexandria, Virginia.